In 1957, the city of Little Rock, Arkansas reached a boiling point. Local and state officials actively defied federal law, physically blocking black students from integrating into public schools. To force the state to comply, President Dwight D. Eisenhower made an incredibly rare move. He deployed federal military troops right into the city limits. A few years later, President John F. Kennedy used that exact same executive authority to enforce integration at universities in Mississippi and Alabama. This points to the core tension of federalism, the delicate shared division of power between national, state, and local governments. But it raises a serious legal question. How exactly can a sitting president send the military into their own country states? Let's look back even further to 1894, during a massive railroad worker strike in Chicago. This crisis triggered a severe standoff between the governor of Illinois and the national government in Washington. The governor explicitly stated he did not want federal involvement, but President Grover Cleveland sent in the troops anyway to restore order. To understand how a president can deploy the military entirely uninvited, we first have to look at the strict two-way rulebook that binds the states and the national government together. The national government owes the states a few specific guarantees. The baseline is a Republican form of government, which simply means the power to elect representatives stays directly in the hands of the voters. Washington is also obligated to protect every state from foreign attacks, as well as unrest from within the country's borders. When sudden natural disasters strike, like hurricanes, earthquakes, or tornadoes, the federal government must step in, providing emergency troops and low-cost loans to victims. Then there is territorial integrity. Congress cannot carve a new state out of an existing one without that state's direct approval. And if a territory wants to join the Union, Congress has to pass an enabling act just to let those residents write a constitution. These guarantees form a protective umbrella. The states trade a degree of their autonomy to Washington in exchange for baseline physical and political security. But the states have their own critical obligations. For one, state and local governments manage, run, and completely pay for all elections of national officials. The Constitution specifically empowers state legislatures to set the exact times, places, and methods for electing federal representatives and senators. And the states hold an ultimate trump card. The United States Constitution cannot be amended or altered without the explicit approval of 3/4 of the states. This specific amendment process ensures that the national government cannot unilaterally change the rules of the country. The reality is, the national government relies entirely on state-level cooperation for its very existence and its foundational operating rules. So how do those uninvited federal troops fit into this cooperative system? There are specific conditions that allow for a federal override. A president can intervene uninvited only if federal laws are actively being broken, if federal property is threatened, or if federal duties are obstructed, like when the Chicago rioters in 1894 started blocking the delivery of the U.S. mail. While the entire system is built to prioritize mutual cooperation, the Constitution installs this federal override to ensure rogue state officials cannot derail the basic functions of the nation. Because federal and state powers overlap so heavily, severe conflicts and misunderstandings over who controls what are an unavoidable feature of the system. When these jurisdictional disputes happen, the federal court system, with the Supreme Court at its head, steps in as the ultimate referee. The first major constitutional stress test regarding shared power happened in 1819, during the landmark case of McCulloch v. Maryland. The court established a vital precedent in that ruling. In any direct, unresolvable conflict between state and national laws, the national government is supreme. But that ruling didn't permanently fix the balance of power. The line between state and federal authority constantly moves. Historically, the Supreme Court acts as a regulatory dial. It sometimes grants more power to the national government or returns power to the states. This shifting is driven by cultural changes, national crises, and the needs of different eras. The American system of government was intentionally designed to have friction. This constant evolving tug-of-war is precisely what checks absolute power and protects the rights of the voters.